Yes, I mean, I thought he was a terrible human being. I studied political science, and I took a Russian history class, and so I knew a lot about how he came to power, and I could kind of see how this could happen pretty easily, especially when Crimea was taken over. So I kind of expected it, and it was like a matter of time in my mind, unfortunately. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, same. I'm a college student, took a world class, and just same.
Did. I mean, I feel like my views on Putin have changed dramatically with recent events. I feel like now, I mean, I don't even know what to say about it. I feel like he's not going to be around for much longer, and that in the tradition of the people who came before him, he'll be eventually just like walked out the door by armed men, and someone else will take his place. I feel like that day is coming.
Yes, I do. I know who Vladimir Putin was, and I try not to think about him too much. That's my thoughts on him. He's basically, to me, a dictator. They don't call him that, but that's what he is to me.
I'm European. I'm from Germany. So yes, I knew who Putin was. And yes, we were seeing the war a lot.
From Lithuania. So our country knows about Vladimir Putin very well. Actually, our country was one of the first countries were always talking about Russia, about their aggression, and yeah, he's just he's just a criminal, and the world needs to stop him.
Just another dictator, seemed like just running his country. Obviously, not as negative as it is right now.
Yes, I did know who he was. I guess my thoughts, I was definitely skeptical. I knew that Russia was really led by like an autocratic, no, how do you say that in English? I'm not sure. Yeah, it's not a democratic country. So I was skeptical of his leadership, I guess, and I knew that elections weren't free in Russia, and he's not like I said, he's not a democratic leader.
I knew who he was, but I didn't really have much thoughts about him. I know that a lot of people have like negative connotations toward him, but I don't know like enough about it to really form an opinion before. Now I don't like him, obviously, but
yes, I knew who he was. I knew that he was a communist, and that was all I needed to know.
Yes, I knew who he was. I know that he wants to get back to old Russia, and for that reason, I think that it's unfair to those Russians that want to move more towards a democratic society. I don't think they ever will, but I hope that they get to do that, as well as Ukraine gets to go back into their country.
Of course, was aware of who Vladimir Putin was, and I believe that he's a toxic leader who comes from an old guard of KGB murderers and psychopaths, and I believe that Russia needs new leadership.
Yes, I knew he was a vicious dictator from what I heard in the media, and he's doing vicious dictator stuff right now.
You didn't know Putin?
No, I
knew
didn't.
Putin.
You knew him personally?
Yeah. No, my social teacher made us very aware of him. We knew how much power he had, but when this stuff came out, I was kind of surprised, to be honest, but
I don't know what word to use, but he's like a crazy guy for me. So he's a guy, when he take a decision, nothing brings him back. So it's a guy that just was scaring me. Just looking his face, yeah, he's just scaring, just like that. Before this problem.
I know who's Vladimir Putin, but I thought he was a different person before. But now I changed my mind a little bit about him. It's not human what's happening now in Ukraine, as I have so many friends in Ukraine and Russia too. And basically they're same people, so I really don't understand why is that happening. Like, even if it's just about the territory or politics, I don't think the normal people should have this happening in 2022 after all this COVID situation and other stuff.
I knew who he was, not positive, very negative.
I knew who he was. I knew he was a dictator, and I knew he was evil.
I did know who Vladimir Putin was because I was paying attention to the news all during the Trump years, of course, and I know they're bros. I guess, yeah, like negative perception, of course.
More or less involved. I don't think we should be involved. I mean, I feel like we should be supporting. I don't know if we can support Ukraine, without being involved. I don't know. That's a tricky question. I don't think that we should escalate the conflict, and we need to be involved to the extent that we're trying to de-escalate the conflict.
More involved. I feel like we're taking too much of and I get why. I mean, I think the U.S. government's just really concerned about a nuclear war, and so I think that's why they're kind of tiptoeing around everything, and why NATO is as well. But I think we should be doing more. What, I couldn't tell you, but something for sure.
I agree. Yeah, same.
That's a hard question. I mean, I would say yes, they should get more involved, but then if I say yes, they should get more involved in this, then why haven't they gotten more involved in other situations like this, when there's terrorist situations, when I hate to say it, as we can see what's happening around in Ukraine, when there's situations like this happen in places where it's people of color, where they're not jumping in to help them as much. So yes, I don't think it should be on the lines of color that they should go help. So yes, I think they should go help more, as well as other countries. But I wish they would do it for everybody when these situations would happen.
Oh, that's a tough question. I think it's important to be very sensitive about the conflict, because you don't know what Putin is going to do next. We have to be very sensitive, because in the countries around Ukraine, we are really worried that Putin is gonna attack us. So we're more about talking and less about interacting in the war.
Yeah, I think we should be more involved. Actually, we don't know how, if we are doing something like, not publicly. So, yeah, but I believe that there's always more you can do when we talk about the war and about people who are dying in Ukraine. So.
I mean, not a full-blown war, but we are already involved, and we have always been, so I don't think there's a way to dodge it, but definitely don't want like a direct involvement. Certainly more sanctions.
To be honest, I'm not sure what exactly the US is doing right now. Like I said, I'm from Germany, so we're just visiting. But I appreciate that the EU and the states are, having sanctions. How do you say that? Or doing sanctions. So I believe it's important to show that it's not okay. And as a European, I'm shocked that there's a war in Europe. I mean, obviously, it's really something that I never knew in my lifetime. So.
I feel like more because we have the power to help, but also there's a side of me that doesn't want to get us involved, but that's just because I don't like war. But I think we have the means for it, and I'm pretty sure they're one of our what's the country called that you're friends with? Ally, yeah.
Well, I'm not the president, so I'm not going to try to make any judgment on that, because I don't have the board of all of these other people that he's got that give him information and whatnot. So I'm going to just leave that in the hand of the president, and hopefully, whatever decisions that he make will be the best ones.
That's very tricky. So I think that if he goes beyond Ukraine, then we'll get more involved. right now, it could escalate things somewhere that we don't want to go. So that's all I have to say. I think supplying them right now with everything that they can to try to fight is the best I think that we can do right now without it being seen as an act against Russia.
I think the U.S. should do as much as it can, minus actually sending our troops to the ground in Ukraine. We've put ourselves in enough situations around the world, and Americans have died for causes that I don't believe they needed to die for. So I pray for the people of Ukraine every day, but I don't think the United States needs to be on the ground there.
I think what they're doing right now is appropriate.
I feel like growing up sometimes less is more, but also you have to know when to step in, and you also have to know when to step back before you put yourself at risk. So I think it's just thin ice right now, so I'm not really sure.
I know, me too, I'm not sure.
I think less, for me, less involved, because this is going to be dangerous. Okay, U.S. is a very, very big puissance. Russian too, and this is a risk to the third world war. That is where what I don't really want. Yeah.
About that question, really, like, I believe they hype up Zelensky, Vladimir Zelensky. I believe the England and French and States, they hype him, oh, don't worry, nothing will happen, we got you back. But when it start to be serious, everybody backed up. So I believe the same thing happened in Bosnia, same thing happened in Kosovo. They told them, don't worry, we got you back, just, stay strong. When they start bombing, they back up. So I don't think it's right what's doing US, France, and Great Britain now for Ukraine. And like, good words will not help them, definitely.
Good question. I don't know. Sorry. More.
How so?
I think that if other NATO countries were willing, we all should be putting some boots on the ground.
I think, well, we're doing all these sanctions right now, correct? And I think that's like a good start. It sucks that the Russian people are getting thrown into their government's conflicts in such a way, because I know a lot of Russians don't seem to be supportive of that sort of thing. So if there was like a way that we could get more involved without putting the Russian people themselves involved and like the pawns in this war, that'd be nice. But again, that's like a pipe dream almost.